Hi, Don Garbutt here. This is part 3 in the series on Sugar Bytes Turnado. In this video, you're going to see how to control the different processors of Turnado from MIDI notes on a keyboard. We're working in Logic, and I'm going to show you how in Logic's environment we can build a gadget that will allow us to do that. We're going to have individual MIDI tracks on different channels, and each different channel is going to control a separate effect in the 8 effects of the Turnado plugin. Have a listen to this short example. This keyboard-controlled approach, it allows you to be very specific about where you want the events to happen, and it's a lot of fun to improvise on the keyboard to find the results. You can create rhythms and transition patterns that are a lot harder to do using controllers or moving the knobs with the mouse. I've set the audio outputs of a couple of my instruments to go out to a bus. In this case, I've chosen bus 2. Then I open up Turnado from the Audio Units MIDI Controlled Effects folder. Once I've selected Turnado, then I go to the sidechain and select bus 2 as the input. And now to the dreaded environment part of Logic. The layer of the environment that we're going to do this work in is the mixer layer. To be able to control Turnado from the keyboard, we're going to need a multi-instrument, 2 transformers, and it wouldn't hurt to throw in a monitor so that we can see the kinds of messages that we're creating. The reason why we have this multi-instrument is to be able to record MIDI notes that will control the knobs of Turnado. We'll be able to see that multi-instrument when we create a track in Logic. It will transmit the messages through the transformers and onto the Turnado object. The first thing to do is activate the channels that we're going to use on the multi-instrument. It wouldn't hurt to name the multi-instrument as well. Now wire the multi-instrument through one transformer to the next one and through the monitor and connect that to the strip holding the Turnado. The first transformer is going to block note off messages. The note off of the keyboard is going to cause the Turnado knob to reset back to 0 every time you lift your finger off the key, and we don't want that. So if you saw my tutorial on transformers, you'll remember that we can set the transformer to filter matching events. In this case, we'll say everything that equals a note with a velocity that equals 0 will be filtered. A note off command is the same as a note message with a velocity value of 0. Now that that's done, the second transformer is the transformer that's going to change the note messages into controller messages. In this case, we'll say everything that equals a note will become fixed as a controller. Now here's a slightly tricky part. What we want is for the channel number to become the parameter number, and for the note pitch to become the parameter value. Channel 1 will become parameter 1. In order to do that, you click right here so that you now see a line sending the channel message value through to the parameter number. That's what is meant by this category here. Now the second step is to have the pitch of the note transformed into the value of the parameter. So we'll have a parameter channel 1 and its value, and down here I've chosen scale because what we want to do is have the notes of the keyboard scaled. This scaling business here allows the keys that you play to produce the results that you want. I'll get back to this scaling in a second. Essentially, this setup here is going to produce controllers that will control the Turnado. Now, the reason why I have this object here is because this is the object that we're going to use to record our MIDI notes on in the Arrange page of Logic. Select a track for that MIDI object that was called the multi-instrument. That's found in External MIDI, opening up the library, where you'll see the multi-instrument object, this is the name that I gave it, and the channels of multitimbrality that we've decided to open up on that object. Selecting the first one here is going to select channel 1 of that multi-instrument object. I've named my tracks in Logic to correspond with the devices that I've used in channels 1 to 8. Before this job is complete, what we have to do is instruct the knob as to the channel value coming in. And that's basically the MIDI learn function. Option click, MIDI learn, play some notes, Now, it doesn't matter which order you do this in, but you might want to create tracks for the different processors, and that's what I've done here. So you see the tracks here. These are my MIDI tracks set on ascending channel values. Once you've created your tracks, then it's really easy to do the MIDI learn process. We've got 8 MIDI tracks, and we're going to instruct the knobs one by one by playing a note through each track after pressing the MIDI learn button on each knob. I'll just show you the scaling business again here. If you simply had MIDI through on in this category, then that might not produce the note range that you're looking for. Right now I'm playing the lowest note on my keyboard, and the highest note of the keyboard only brings it up to about here. So if instead you go to scale and increase this value here, and perhaps offset the whole scale like this, then you don't have to play the lowest note on your keyboard to produce the beginning value. Adjusting this allows you to raise the lowest note position to a note that you're comfortable with, like say C1. And increasing this value here means a steeper increase in the knob position as you go up the keyboard. With a steeper slope here, you can arrange the knob to move to its fullest value even though you have a shorter keyboard. I'm moving up 5 octaves here, and that's actually moving the knob to its fullest position. So you can set the scale according to the length of the keyboard that you use. Now you can enjoy dialing up different processors, setting up different patches, and how they respond to the keyboard. Now here's the final thing that you should be aware of. Notice if I play a short note on the keyboard, the knob stays in position. But when you record that MIDI note into your track, it's going to appear as a very short note. I found it necessary afterwards to go into each track and to choose note force legato. This ensures that the knob stays in position until the next note plays. Often you're resetting the knob's position by playing a low note in your pattern. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Thanks for watching.